Hey everybody, welcome back. Welcome back, Helen.
Thank you.
So we talked about your circuit race, but you got to race short track with an Olympian, the pro women field.
Yes.
I'm super excited to get into that footage. Should we do it?
Let's do it.
All right. Okay, Helen, I don't know anything about short track racing. I didn't have any encouraging text messages before this race.
Yeah, there was 0 text messages. I was on my own.
So tell me about it, though. I mean, all eyes must have been on Sophia, right?
Oh, definitely. I mean, she's an Olympian, Pan American champion. She's the one to beat. Everyone knows her name. So definitely it was on her. She's at the front right from the start. And that's where she was for most of the race.
So there's usually this big scramble for a whole shot. This is like the little bit of knowledge I know about mountain bike racing, especially short track. But without a big field, it didn't seem as crazy gangbusters in the first 30 seconds.
Totally true. I mean, usually, I will be a max effort right from the start. And this one, I wasn't. I kind of was just watching the field. I kind of settled into like 4th or 5th here, kind of make a pass to move up. But it was not as crazy as it usually is. My heart rate's not at max when it usually will be. And so we're kind of just settling in here, which is different.
And you'll notice some of these same roads. This shares some of the roads as the circuit race. But then we go off-road a little bit here, and you get into some pretty loose stuff. Let's just take a whole lap, why don't we?
Sure.
You saw Helen doing 800 watts out of that last corner. That's kind of how this goes. I think this has been described as a criterium on a mountain bike, is what it seems like.
Yes, very similar.
Ooh, pretty high risk line there. So you see
into a corner there.
Yeah, you get some pretty loose pea gravel on the left.
Yes, that corner was annoying the entire race.
And then a K-rail on your right made out of cement.
Yeah,
so.
Really just great locations anywhere you go.
So it's tricky. And look, I mean, there's really no passing through here, right?
Yeah, you couldn't really get around.
And then you're hit with this hill here in a second, and that's one of the few places to pass, but nobody wants to pass on a hill. For the same reason, it's really difficult to pass in the circuit race on the hill. In the Santa Cruz crit that I recently made a video about, that's why passing on the hill is usually not a good idea, because it just requires this huge expenditure of energy, because even maintaining the wheel here, you're doing 600 watts.
Yep. Yeah. So every lap it was like this, going pretty hard. Maybe passing some people. We'll see some of that later on, but mostly just hanging in there.
And guess who's on the front right now?
Sophia.
And because this is not her first rodeo, she understands that on a course like this and a discipline like this, yeah, you're pushing a little bit more wind on the front, but you're also taking choice lines, and she is world class. She's an Olympian, like we said. So she's going to take some pretty impressive lines through here, and it's your job. Even fourth wheel, you're going to see these gaps starting to open up, and this is why it's really threatening to be caught. Let's say your 30th wheel, right? It could be game over on lap 1 for you.
Oh, definitely. And I mean, even just that corner, gaps open up. I'm happy to sit in here and let this rider in front of me close the gap down.
Smart move.
To the people in front. But, just in one corner, there's already several second gaps. Just from the yo-yo effect.
So that's one lap. Let's fast forward a little bit and see what happens in this race.
Okay, so Sophia's still in the front. There's a gap that's opened up. I see this happening. I'm slightly stressed. You do not want gaps in short track at all. As you can see, these riders are not really closing it down. I'm like, okay, this has to close down. I go to the front. I'm really just focused on closing this gap down as much as possible up this climb, because as soon as you hit the tarmac, it's into a headwind. All those gaps hurt to close. So I'm doing 800 watts, and we're 5 minutes into this race.
And you have to, because Sophia can just ride away from everybody and win solo. But I love that you waited until the climb to make this effort, because those two riders that you were with, and however many also were hanging on for dear life behind that, you don't want them to join for free. So you do this big effort on the climb, establish your gap, maintain it on this descent, and then we're going to see, hopefully you maintain contact with Sophia here as you come into the headwind.
Yeah, so not a terrible corner there, little bit gap, but that happens every lap. And then, I can close it down into this headwind, and from there I'm stuck on her wheel. I'm not going around her.
It's good that she closed this down, because I can see she's in time trial mode. I think she was really hoping that this first big attack was going to be the one.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, she doesn't know any of us at all. She's very good. She's an extremely skilled rider, very good at short track. She's looking back.
Yeah,
she's like, why are you here?
Man.
And so for her, she's expecting to ride away from the field. And that would have been a good race for her if she did that.
So you're in a position now where, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you're in a position now where you're probably going to put a lot of the onus of setting pace on Sophia.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, she's the Olympian. I have a day job. Like, I feel no obligation to stick my head out and help her out at all.
Plus, you have confidence in your field sprint ability, if you want to call this a field. But let's say like a few other riders bridge up.
Exactly.
Like, you're fine out of a group of 4. You know, she probably wants to stay out of harm's way, and she probably wants to stay off the front. So this is a great position for you to be in. Sophia's probably thinking, how am I going to shake this youngster on my wheel?
Oh, totally. I mean, she wants to get rid of me. She wants me gone.
As
she
soon
wants
as
to be
possible.
solo.
So let's see if she can make that happen. Okay, so if I were Sophia, I would definitely want to shake you and not just drag you to the finish line. And I would wait until either the technical section of this course or the climb. And it seems like Sophia has decided she's going to try to drop you on this climb. So she drops this bomb on the climb, and you don't seem to have much of a problem stepping on it.
Yeah, short efforts, I could do those all day. I'm happy to sit with that. So every lap, it's a similar theme. You know, we're going 700, 800 watts every lap up that climb, and she checks back every lap, and I'm still there.
And she continues to look frustrated, like, hey, you're supposed to be dropped by now. I'm an Olympian. Have you forgotten that I'm an Olympian?
Haven't you heard?
So eventually she tries on the pavement, and then that doesn't work.
Yeah, the pavement one is funny because she's trying to get me to come around. We both sit up. I'm doing like 0 watts. And she gets frustrated and tries to just sprint out of it. And I'm perfectly happy to just sit on her again.
And eventually there's just kind of this standoff where she doesn't want to pull you around anymore. I understand why she doesn't.
Yeah.
You obviously don't want to do any work for the Olympian.
Yep.
So you guys just really slow down in your speed. And then that third rider ends up catching on.
Yeah, it was super interesting because, you know, we're sitting up. She's trying to get me to come around. She's talking at me. She's trying to like taunt me into like going in front, you know, whatever she can do to try to like goad me into going in front. And I'm just sitting there quietly. I'm not doing anything. And third place comes around us. And this was fascinating to me because, you know, I'm kind of on the front here doing, 100 watts, just doing no work. And I look over and third place comes around and Sophia's on her wheel. And I have no idea. I'm very surprised, you know, because third place was hammering this entire time to catch us. You know, Sophia and I are goofing off in the front. And there's really no reason for her to offer to pull both me and the Olympian around this course.
Yeah, it was very strange to me too. She must have thought that you two were tired, and that's why you slowed down. That's the only logic I can apply to this. Because yeah, you're right. There was no reason that she should be pulling like she is right now on the front, and that's great news for you. That's great news for Sophia. You two are probably just thinking like, how long is she gonna keep doing this, and then at what point am I gonna attack?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think we sat on there for what, a lap and a half. And then it's getting exciting. So we're down to a lap and a half to go, and you know, Sophia has to make a move. Sophia wants to make a move, and I see this coming from a mile away, right? So we have this rider on the front who's struggling a little bit. You can see her
pedaling squares.
Yes, and Sophia wants to make this move where I'm caught behind that rider for this descent and can't really get that gap down. Thankfully, I'm able to also make this pass along with Sophia. She checks back to make sure she goes, and I'm still there. So at this point, third place has been dropped after.
She's like, you again.
Yes, exactly. No. After pulling us for a lap and a half, third place has been dropped. It's very unfortunate. And it's 2 of us off the front again with 1 lap to go.
So back to this awkward, uncomfortable situation for Sophia again, where you're not going to be helping her anymore. So she's now, I think, on this last lap, she really needs to figure out a way to get rid of you.
Yeah, she's going hard every corner. You know, she's hammering. At this point, you know, 1 lap to go. There's not a ton of waiting around you can do, and I'm just gonna sit in. I'm just gonna sit there and let her do the work.
So we're inside of 1 kilometer to go now, and she still has you on her wheel. She absolutely needs to drop you.
Absolutely. And this is, you know, she tries again. I'm doing over 800 watts. Again, last lap, we're 30 minutes in. I mean, we've been doing this all race. My heart rate's high. Like we're hammering right now.
You can tell she's getting after it on this climb. It's probably her last chance to truly get rid of you.
Oh yeah. And so this is where it gets interesting. We're catching lap traffic, and this rider does not actually get in our way, but I'm yelling at them to move over, and Sophia takes a wonderful line through this corner, dodges concrete on both sides. I have the worst line of my race through this corner.
Oh, that's such a good line that you
it's
took.
so good. And so there's an extra second gap here. And 30 seconds to the line, I see this happening. You know, I'm like, okay, this is it. I'm, 800 watts to try to close it down. I'm just hovering around 600 for these last 30 seconds. What I would have done for 50 more feet. You know, this gap is closing, and it's closing not that slowly. But the finish line is where it is, and I could not pull her back just fast enough.
You scared her, though. You scared the Olympian. You were very close. And I think, honestly, when I watched this, I had sweaty palms the first time. Even the fifth time I've watched this, I have sweaty palms right now because I thought you had her. And you're right. I think another 50 feet you probably would have. But in any case, second to Olympian's not so bad, right?
Oh, yeah. It's a good day. It was a good day on the bike. A very exciting race.
So congrats on the result again. And if you guys want to hear more from Helen, I certainly do, leave a comment down below. She does road, she does mountain, she does gravel, she does everything on 2 wheels. So thanks, Helen, for joining the channel.
Thank you for having me. It was fun.
Talk to you guys soon.